Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Barry Rapkin. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Identified Technologies. If I have anyone from Pittsburgh watching, I'm a CMU grad from Tepper. I've started and sold 2 online companies, and I joined Identified Technologies because I love what they're doing. And I just think the robotics are incredible, and the applications have a huge value. We've been featured by TEDx, NBC, CNN, Inc., Pittsburgh Business Times, US Magazine, TechCrunch, South by Southwest, and many more. And basically the structure of today's webinar is I'm going to tell you a little bit about the problem that we're trying to solve, how our technology works, what it can do for you, and then we'll make our way to the infographic showing what the process looks like to actually be doing your own site mapping in just 72 hours. So whenever you make the decision that, you want to go forward, 72 hours from that date, you can be on your site doing your own drone site mapping. And really, I want to keep it casual. If you guys have questions at all throughout, please feel free to enter them in the chat roll right below the presentation. And I will be happy to answer them. And if there's anything I don't know, I'll put you in touch with the people that do. So with that, moving forward, I want to get to the big problem that we're trying to solve, which is that about 90% of engineering and construction projects run late or over budget. And I want to talk about why that is and what we're trying to do to fix it. So every day, and if I have any project managers listening, you know this is true, you're asked to do an impossible task. You go to war with a mountain of paperwork and communication to all the contractors, their leadership, their customers, while having perfect visibility to every change on every massive job site, all simultaneously. It's an impossible job. You can't be 3 places at once, and something has to give. Sometimes it does. Managers are expected to keep track of massive, sometimes 50, 100, 200, 1,000 acre sites, sometimes multiple sites at a time. And you have rapidly changing contractors, equipment, building projects. And in general, sites are still managed the same way today that they were 20 years ago. Construction is still done off of rolled up paper blueprints, and managers still walk the site with clipboards, taking notes and pictures. All stakeholders still have to physically come out, even if it's cross-country, and fly and stay and visit the job site to check the progress. And then really the only other way around it is aerial overhead data is usually only rarely captured due to both the large costs and large delays. So if you want to charter a plane to capture aerial overhead data, that might cost $15,000, $20,000, $40,000, and it could take several weeks to get it. And if you want to have a manned survey team do it, again, you're looking at several weeks for data collection and then processing. So even when you finally get the data, now it's 1 or 2 months old, and it's really no longer accurate. And really the issue is it is impossible, no matter who you are, no matter how good you are, to make fast, informed decisions without consistent, continuous site visibility. And that leads to a few things. It leads to inefficiency because expensive contractors and rental equipment often goes unused due to bottlenecks that could have otherwise been prevented. It leads to project delays, waiting for customers to get out to the site to approve portions of work and release funds for the next section. It leads to low profits. When projects go over budget, it comes directly out of the construction company's profits. And it leads to lost customers. Customers who experience disappointments on their projects may not use you again, or may stop mid-project or file lawsuits. We've seen it happen, and as you know, construction is all about reputation and repeat business. So it's all about keeping the customer happy. So how do drones fit into all this? Drones can give you very accurate data. They can deliver it automatically. They can deliver it in near real time. So you're not now waiting 2 months to get data back and you're getting old information that's no longer accurate. You can be getting data back hours after the site is flown. So near real time aerial mapping and processing, which gives you job site visibility. And you can do this whether you have a 50-acre site or a 200-acre site. You can do this whether you have 1 site or whether you have 20. And you can see them all in near real time. And it lets you securely share that data and those reports with all your stakeholders, with leadership, with customers, with contractors, and interact with them and collaborate with them to solve problems before it's too late, to answer questions, to settle potential miscommunications, everything. So who are we and how do we fit into this? Identified Technologies builds and leases the world's only automated project insight system. As I said, we've been featured by a lot of major publications for what we're doing. We're not a drone company. We're not a service provider. So when you think of us, don't think of us, if you're going to clean your house, don't think of us like a vacuum or a maid, but a Roomba, an electronic solution that takes care of the problem for you. We work with a lot of major clients. And the general agenda of today's presentation, again, feel free to ask questions anytime, but the overall is we're going to talk about the basics that everyone needs to know about drones. We're going to talk about how drones are benefiting your specific industry. We're going to talk about the how you can get up and running in just 72 hours for your drone program. And then we're going to turn it over to sort of general Q&A. So for the past and present, we've had RC planes and helicopters for a long time, for decades. And you got to ask, like, why are drones suddenly such a big deal? And the reason is that back a few decades ago, model airplanes were a fun toy, but you really couldn't do much with them. They weren't reliable. They were very difficult to steer. And in fact, this was the typical user experience for most people. You might play with it for a few minutes, even a few hours, but you can't do anything practical with it. It's hard to steer. They're flimsy. They're going to crash, and they're just not reliable. So what changed? Why is there this sudden, massive interest in drones today? Well, it's a combination of things, and it's a mix of both government and private sector innovation. And drones really lie at the intersection of all these different technologies coming together. So you have NASA working on flight controllers for decades, making them more and more powerful, more and more accurate, and miniaturized. You have the United States Navy developing GPS systems. These used to be massive, and now most of them have them built right into our smartphones. Likewise, gyroscopes and accelerometers. If anyone has a Nintendo Wii, the same thing that you have in the wands, the same thing that most of us have in our smartphones, where they can actually tell how you're positioning them. And they're almost self-aware. And then high quality miniaturized digital cameras, similar to the GoPro. And all those combined with model aircrafts make for the modern drone and modern drone capabilities. And we're seeing first applications in a lot of areas where, again, you don't want a plane, you just want the view from a plane. So that might be for real estate to get a nice 360 view of the house or an aerial view of the roof. It might be for sports to get interesting angles on tricks and stunts. It might be for movies and TV commercials. But all these things where you're just looking for that particular view and you don't actually need to hire a plane, let's say for transportation or other applications. And beyond those, they're being used in a wide variety of industries. Drones are being used in agriculture, construction, engineering, landfills, mining, oil and gas, and really all forms of energy, mapping, and surveying. And a lot of people think that all you can do with drones is take some photos and some video. And well, honestly, that was true a few years ago. It has come a long, long way. And the applications and the capabilities of drones have really progressed. So it's not just photos and video. Well, you can certainly do that. You can actually automate advanced surveying, mapping, and monitoring. So you can get 2-dimensional distance measurements if you want that. You can get 3D volumetric analysis, which has huge applications for excavation projects, for mining and aggregate piles. If you want to know how much inventory you have on hand, it's easy to calculate in near real time. If you want to know the rate that your excavation project is progressing at, how different contractors are doing, how long it's going to take, how much maybe more you're going to need to bring in for a cut and fill project. All that data is accessible using drones. We can offer 3D point clouds, contour line maps, digital surface models or DSMs, ortho mosaic overlays. We can do site risk prevention and response. So that means you can actually, if there's going to be signs of, let's say, a landslide beforehand, you can detect that early and do something about it before it's too late. If you see signs that, let's say, the vegetation around a pipeline is dying off, then that's sign of a gas leak, and you can treat that again before it becomes a real problem. And we can also do as-built versus as-planned overlays. So we'll take the blueprints that were initially planned out for the project and overlay them with the site itself, the real site, and you can make sure that everything is right on point, where it's supposed to be, the way it's supposed to be. And again, deal with things before it's too late. We've seen some issues where someone might not, so sometimes foundations are poured 15 feet off, and it's much better to get that stuff figured out early, but before the roof is on the thing and it's all built out. And you can also do stuff like just check inventory on the project. How many trucks do you have? How many power tools? On a big project, it's really hard to track as things are coming and going. And this makes it easy. And in the near future, we're going to be offering gas detection, methane, multispectral, and thermal imaging. So we're already beta testing these with customers, and we're always kind of expanding our capabilities and sort of always at the cutting edge of where drone mapping technology is. In terms of what drone is right for you, you may have already been looking around to see what's out there. It can be a little overwhelming. There are literally thousands of drones on the market, and sorting through the different options to see what's best for you, it can be a little tough. In truth, there is no perfect drone. It really depends on your application. So just to talk through a few of these, you can spend $93 million, get a Global Hawk from Northrop Grumman. Weighs about 32,000 pounds, can top speed at 357 miles per hour. And, for certain military applications, that is the exact right drone for the job. For a hobbyist, it just needs to snap a couple of photos. Phantom Vision, is great. It's about $1,000. It'll let you take some photos. It's not, going to be the most reliable thing or the most precise thing. But if you just want sort of a basic amateur toy, it's perfect. So, we don't claim to be the right solution for everyone, and anyone that does is wrong, because it really, really depends on your exact applications. In terms of how we're different than some of the standard alternatives, I was talking about the traditional ways to get aerial data. So that's you either get a helicopter or a plane to survey the job site, you get manned survey teams, or you can use a solution like Identified Technologies. So the biggest issue with the others is really cost and delay, and then the sort of follow-up costs and headaches that come from that delay. So for an aerial survey, if you want a 100-acre site done, it might cost $15,000. It'll take about 4 weeks to book it. Actually, gathering the data will be pretty quick. It might only be a few hours, but then processing the data might take another 8 weeks. So you're looking at something like 3 months from the time that you want that aerial survey done till you actually have the data in hand. And of course, the problem is 3 months later, if it's a fast-moving job site, that data is no longer accurate because things have changed. Likewise, if you do a manned survey team, for a 100-acre site, again, might be $20,000. It won't take as long to book usually, but it'll take much longer to gather the data because they have to do it manually by hand. And that can also be dangerous too on a site covered either with a lot of hazardous material, dangerous equipment, or just harsh elements. It can be tough. And then they actually have to process all that data they gather together. So again, it's going to be something like 7 weeks. Again, you're looking at almost 2 months. And probably your site's changed in 2 months. So really why we're here is to give you the data you want, but at a much more affordable price, and give it to you without delay. So you know where you are, hours after you run the flight, not months. And the way we're structured, you basically get our services and you get unlimited updates. So if you want to run a flight every month, every week, every day, we're here for you. The flights are basically instantaneous. It takes about 9 minutes to fly a 100-acre site, and then usually we can process it in a few hours after. And you're seeing a big push really at all levels of enterprise business to automate repetitive data capture work. Just because it's more efficient, it saves money, it's faster, and it scales better. And that's what we're here for. So whether you use us or a different product, this would be the process that you would need to go through to capture data via drone. So you'd have to get FAA approval, which is a pretty time-consuming process. It can take, you're looking at sort of minimum of 6 months and usually more. A lot of legal fees, getting your 333 exemption, your COA, and all that is for the specific drone that you're using. So if you end up not being happy with that drone, wanting to make a change, you're looking at filing all over again and making the same investment of time and money. You have to set up pretty sophisticated data centers to do all the data processing. So you're not just buying the drone, you actually have to have the right hardware in place and the right sort of experts in place to take the raw data from the drone and process it into usable maps, and then store all that data, warehouse that data, manage it, and make it securely accessible throughout your teams and the people that you want to have access to, which is significant because a lot of these files may be many gigabytes, so you can't just email them. You need to either take on the risk of use or get insurance, both for the drone itself and for any accidents that might happen or collisions or anything like that. And you also need to train, hire, and sort of bring on pilots and maintain the drone. Once you've done all that, you have to choose your KML with the map perimeter of the area that you want surveyed. You have to lay ground control points. You have to create and upload the flight plan, fly the drone. Then you have to geotag the data, transfer the data from the drone onto the processing center. Then you have to process all the data, store and manage the data, and at that point you can finally analyze and collaborate on those reports with your team. So where we're different is we take on a lot of those steps for you. So this is what your workflow looks like if you're working with identified technologies. You'd have to do the one-time setup of choosing the KML with the map perimeter. So that's just basically telling us where your time setup of setting ground control points, and as long as they stay visible, then we'll be able to use those forever. Ours is an automated system, so you literally just push a button on the drone, it flies, takes itself off, maps the area, comes back, lands itself, scans the data up to the cloud, processes the data, warehouses the data, and gives you access to your reports, at which point you can analyze and collaborate. So really, this may sound too good to be true, but this is our real operation. You push, the button is pushed on the drone to turn it on, it takes off, it maps, all the processing, storage, warehousing is all taken care of by us, and you just have access to your reports, usually within hours, where you can analyze and collaborate on your job site. So you don't have to do the piloting manually, it's automatic. It's a very scalable system. If you want 1, great. If you want 100, great. We help you wherever you are in the world. And it's a really reliable, robust, commercial grade product. When I talked about what a KML is, It's just like Google Maps. You're just going to basically show us the area that you want covered. And if you have any questions about it, we'll show you how to do this. It's easy. It's a very simple process to send KMLs. And if you have multiple job sites, again, no problem. Laying ground control points, it's literally just putting down something that we can see from overhead to sort of mark it off. So that might be setting down a white X. That might be spray painting, like orange or yellow. But either way, it is that simple. and as long as we can maintain visibility to it, you can use that throughout the project. You'll never have to put down another. And once you've done that, the drone will fly, upload and process the data, and give you an access to analyze the job site data reports. And we can do earthwork project. And I know I covered this earlier, but just to talk through again, we can do almost any report you could want. So 2D distance measurements, no problem. 3D volumetric analysis, no problem. 3D point clouds, contour line maps, whatever you're used to getting, whatever reports you like to see, we can almost certainly deliver it and deliver it in the same format that you're used to. And that includes DSMs, orthomosaics, site risk prevention and response, and as-built overlays and inventory tracking. So whatever you want, that there's a really, really good chance we got it. So now, just to sort of give you a chance to see how it actually performs, I'm going to quickly play a video of our Boomerang drone in action. And it's called the Boomerang because you send it out with the press of a button, and it's going to actually come back by itself. So just like I was talking about, you're going to choose your KML. We set it up as a flight plan for the drone, and that's downloaded to the drone. You're going to go to the job site, open up the case, which is obviously included with the Boomerang, set it down, and literally, oh, well, we have a flight checklist just to make sure you're safe. You don't want to set it off in an unsafe environment, but you push a button, the drone takes off, it flies the area. After it's done flying and capturing all the aerial data, it comes back, lands itself, scans the data up to the cloud. You'll have an opportunity to see any data you want from past jobs. You can look at it right from your iPad. You pack it up. And it's just that easy. And again, you can do a 100-acre job site in about 9 minutes. And once you're back at the office, you'll have access to the newly mapped data. Again, might just be a few hours old, and you can really see projects evolve. We can also do flyovers and fly-throughs. So this was a project we did for Kokozing Construction in Kentucky, where they were actually carving through multiple mountains. And they were able to take our imaging and we turned it into a 3D overhead video for them. And they were able to share that with their leadership team so they could really appreciate the scale of the project and what they'd accomplished. And normally that's data that either they would never get or they would have to at a very high cost actually fly in for. So you can really bring the job site to the stakeholders. So the theme of today's webinar is rapid deployment. So how do you, in about 72 hours, go live? And we're there. It took us a while, but we're there. So if this doesn't have to be something that takes months and months of work or research or time, if this is something you're interested, we can get you going in just a few days. And that's true worldwide. So of the different things that I said you need a drone. So we got that covered. You have to be insured and covered by the FAA. And you are under our plan. So by using us, you're basically automatically in. So just to talk through again what this would look like is day one. You're going to sign the contract and we're going to ship you out your Boomerang. Day 2, we're going to give you some remote training. So basically, we'll Skype or WebEx with you, just talking about, what the drone looks like, how to hold it and use it safely, just basic sort of flight stuff, talking through the safety checklist. And you'll probably also send us over the KML, and we'll build the flight plan that same day. And then day 3, you receive your drone in the mail. It arrives. It's going to automatically download the flight plan that we've made for it. As soon as it's synced up with any kind of internet connection. You can also use 3G if you have a mobile hotspot. You're going to press the button on the drone. It's going to take off. It's going to map the area at about 10 acres per minute. Come back, land itself, scan the data up to the cloud, and that probably that same day, within a few hours, you can have access to the mapping reports. So just to show you a little more what that workflow looks like, we set the coordinates, it downloads to it, you press the button, the drone collects the data at 10 acres per minute. We process the data in our facility, and you're going to have a secure cloud access to it. And that's going to let you collaborate with your whole team, with your contractors, with your leadership, with your customers, which really empowers faster, informed decision making. And we have a couple other things that are nice. Not only do you have the Boomerang platform and unlimited data processing, we're also going to help you with tech support if you have any questions. If the drone ever malfunctions, we're either going to fix it or replace it. We'll usually do try to do a priority 24-hour overnight replacement, so your jobs don't slow down. So full replacement warranty. You have unlimited software and hardware updates. So we have a whole dedicated team of engineers just constantly working to improve the both software and hardware of our system, make it even more precise, even more robust, and increase the capabilities. And we're always improving that and staying on the cutting edge, and you're included in that. So anytime that there's a patch or a change, we cover you, and we can also include you under our liability insurance. And that's basically how easy it is. It is literally, if you decide today or tomorrow that you want to give us a try and stop paying for one-off survey teams or aerial surveys and see how automated drone surveying treats you. A few days later, you can be doing it and enjoying the reports. And with that, we just got a great question, which is, do your clients need a pilot's license in the US? So the FAA has sort of hinted that in June, they're probably no longer going to require that you have to have a pilot's license to operate a drone. And as you know, our drone does not have to be manually steered. It flies itself. Currently in the short term, for basically, we think the next few months, you have to have, just by the FAA requirements, and that's not us, it's them, you have to have a pilot on site. So there's two ways around that. A lot of construction firms someone there has a pilot, they know someone that has a pilot's license, so they have them just literally be on the requirement, but just to sort of babysit when it's doing a flight. If you don't, we have of pilots available to us that we use and can get you basically a pilot in the short term whenever you need one. So again, we don't think that's going to be a long-term requirement, but for the next few months, if you're interested now, whether you want to use a pilot of your own or you want to use one of ours, we'll help you out, and it's just part of our standard operations. We're good on the infographic, but I want to tell you guys a little bit more about sort of what we have going on. So, and again, please, the questions are great, so please keep them coming. We're the only really autonomous drone. So you've seen how the workflow all fits together. It's a really tough system. It flies safely in rain, and we've tested in winds up to 33 miles per hour without any problem. You have robust and consistent data capture. You don't want to use a toy for this stuff. It's just not going to be precise, but this is really industrial strength. And if you ever need a replacement, you get a free one overnighted to you. We're on some of our sites, we have a dock station. This isn't required to work with us, but it's an option if you're interested. That will actually automatically swap out the batteries for you as well, and then push the captured data to the servers, as I talked about, and it has a clip of about 8 batteries included with it. So you don't even have to touch the thing. The drone will live in the docking station on the job site, and you literally don't touch it. It just takes itself off, flies the air, comes back, lands itself, swaps the batteries out, charges them, and it's just a completely hands-off process. And for some enterprise customers or people with job sites in more remote regions, this can make a lot of sense. Other questions for our dashboard. As I said, we can do high-resolution 2D or 3D maps that really are helpful for collaboration and analytics, and it exports to all leading mapping software formats. So whatever you're used to is great. And we're almost to the end, and I'll get to your questions. But I just want you to know we can help out at every sort of phase of your drone development for your program. So that may mean just advising you. We have webinars, we have workshops, we have, if you go into our case studies, a lot of examples of customers we've worked with. So we're happy to just inform. We can help with implementation, safety training, FAA regulation. We have a $2 million general liability insurance plan that you can be included in. And then we can help on the local solutions and remote solutions front. And as I said at the beginning, depending on your needs, if you just need some photos, if you have certain specialty cases, we're not going to be right for you. And that's fine. We'll help set you up with the right equipment and the right solution for you. So we really are here just as advisors in the community, and to help however we can. And then if you do decide to work with us, you also do have that lifetime product warranty, premium support, and unlimited updates. So with that, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me today. I know you're all busy, and I really appreciate your attention and your questions. And just turn it over to the Q&A. So most of you have already seen there's the box under the presentation, the chat roll, so you can type any questions there. And while you guys are entering questions, I also want to encourage you, you can win a free month of automatic drone surveying from us, valued up to $10,000. So it could be, massive. If you fill out the opportunity just a little bit below the chat roll, so where it says win a free month of aerial drone surveys, if now or after the presentation you want to fill that out, it just helps us know a little bit better what our attendees' needs are, and make sure we're meeting them, and help us do our job a little better, and gives you a chance to win. So with that, I'm going to give just a few moments for you to fill in your questions, and then I'm going to do my best to answer them. Okay, so I'm seeing a bunch of great questions here. So guest 3286 asked, who is responsible for filling out the NOTAM? And what that's short for, if anyone doesn't know, is a notice to airmen. So that's something filed with the Aviation Authority to let them know of aircraft pilots or potential hazards along a flight route. So we take care of that. As part of our flight planning, we also do all the sort of FAA bookkeeping requirements, registration, and that's just included as part of our service. So that's not something that you would have to worry about. Someone else asked what the accuracy level is. Is it feet? Is it inches? It's better than that. We're basically about 1 centimeter accuracy. If you want to learn more about that, feel free to go under our case studies. And I want to give you the exact name, so just give me one moment. We did a great case study on how does drone accuracy compare to standard aerial mapping. So hopefully exactly what you're looking for. And that's a cool one because we actually had a client use a standard aerial mapping service with a plane, map the site, and then have our drones do it, and then compare them side by side with a third party. And it was, I believe, 99.6% match. So it was basically within a centimeter difference. And for most clients, if you're within a few inches, you're good. But we can get well beyond that. And hopefully that also answers the question of, with ground control points, what is the accuracy of the system compared to conventional survey? In terms of the costs, it does depend a little bit on your exact situation. Are you going to need a bunch of drones? Do you have a ton of different job sites? What exact reports do you need? So what I would encourage you to do is just, if after this presentation's over, maybe first fill out the free month of aerial drone surveys opportunity, because if you win that, it won't cost you anything. But also just hit the contact, tell us a little bit more about your needs, and someone on our consulting team will reach out to you, and we can give you a price quote and just understand better what you need and how we can help. So keep the questions coming. These are great. I'm going to just talk through a couple of maybe some of the common questions that we get that may be helpful for you as well. One common question is, how is the data shared from the Boomerang? Do you have to plug it in? Do you have to ship it back? So no, it's totally wireless and secure. So it's a pretty hands-off process. In terms of FAA requirements, we do have a 333 exemption. If that's required, the FAA requires that for any commercial drone flight, and you want to make sure whether you use us or some other service, you want to make 100% sure that they do have a 333 exemption. The FAA basically has already gone after a lot of people for trying to fly without getting the proper clearance. They just sued Skypan, a drone services company, for $1.9 million for flying commercially without it. So something you want to be really careful of. And there's an easy way to check whether it's us or someone else. Go to the FAA website, just do a search for 333 exemption, and they have a whole listing there where you can type in any customer or any provider and make sure that they do in fact have their 333. So just a good thing to do to be responsible and protect your company's interest. A common question is, can you restrict the area of the drone so it doesn't wander off or bang into something? And yeah, absolutely. With the KML, we can fly over most obstacles. So if you have a crane, let's say that's 100 feet or 150 feet, no problem. We'll fly at 200. You just sort of let us know, and we can build that into the flight plan. So the flight planning doesn't just control where it flies, it controls how high it flies as well. And it will do a sort of a lawnmower pattern through that region, but we can restrict the region that it hits. So if we want to, let's say, avoid a mountain next to it, or we want to avoid a highway next to it, that's great. We just have the flight plan encapsulated in the region that we want to fly, and it will never go beyond that region. So that's no problem. We build that into the flight plan for the drone. We had a question on how large a job site we can map. Most of our work that we do is up to about 200 acres. That's the majority. But we've done much larger jobs in the thousands acre range, and we can do bigger than that. So I would say just most people's needs are under 200, but if you have an edge case or need something different, let us know, and we'll see if we can help you. We've done pipelines that were about 100 miles too. So whatever you need, we'll do our best for you. Okay, so great question. In terms of, is our system really autonomous? Yes. And that's a great question because it's a very overused phrase. A lot of systems that call themselves autonomous still require that you have to do a ton of training, constant maintenance, continuous human control, or they take care of just the software or just the hardware, but nothing else really takes care of everything in the whole workflow. And that's what makes our system different from alternatives. So with us, literally, you send us your job site, and the system takes care of everything else. We fly the area, we collect the data, we return it back, and it lands itself. We upload the data, we process it, and give you access to it. It really is that easy. So if you have any other questions, I would love to address them. If you have a specific use case for your company, your industry, please put them out. If you have specific questions about what we can deliver, if you have questions about maybe what our capabilities are, if you have any concerns, or you think that other people in your company would have concerns. Sometimes people ask us, well, I love this, I need this, but how do I sell it to my, the president of our company or the CEO or the operations team? So we have benefits sort of for everyone in the company. There's things to get excited about if you're on GIS. There's things to get excited about if you're on legal. There's things to get excited about if you're the CFO. So we're happy to sort of talk you through that. And that'll actually probably be our webinar in the next month or two is kind of talking about, well, stakeholder by stakeholder, what do we have to offer? But with that, if you have any other questions, please put them out. Otherwise, I just want to thank you for your time. We'll do a follow-up email next week that's going to include a link to the finished infographic, possibly sooner. And if you do have any other questions that you think of, feel free to contact us on the contact form on the website. And yeah, when we send out the final infographic, we'll also include a recording of this presentation. So if you want to rewatch anything or share it with your team, you'll be able to do that. So great. Thank you all very much. I hope you have a great week ahead. And please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.